Hello everyone. I welcome all of you in a series of webinar on networking communication and soft skills, second episode on intuitive communication and self-communication with our speaker, Nimandeep Singh. So before we going forward with this session, I would like to give you a brief introduction about Punjabi Chamber of Commerce. So here is a short video.
Punjabi Chamber was formed to unite the global Indian Punjabi community.
Just having access to professionals across the world on a more professional as well as a personal note is the biggest value that I have seen in PCC.
It brings all Punjabi brothers together and gives all the business people a bigger and a better platform.
Privileged to have this opportunity to mentor the younger generation coming into the business world.
I'm really excited to use the Mentor Connect program offered by the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce.
So, the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce is a non-profit organization headquartered in USA and established in 2017. The organization envisioned to facilitate global and local business communities with a networking forum wherein they can build new connections and relationships. Our network is committed to build an ecosystem for informative mentorship and advocacy programs. We have a strict no religion, no politics policy, but we believe in diversity and inclusion. So here are the positioning and ethos, or we can say the core mantra of PCC. These are capital building, capacity building, and community building. Capital building through commerce and cooperation, capacity building through community and communications, community building through culture and creativity. Global Youth Squad or GYS is a youth wing. The main objective is to create the legacy for the next generation to grow, build, and succeed. GYS aims to facilitate the youth with a global platform wherein they can access mentorship programs and professional training sessions. Punjabi Chamber Foundation or PCF is a charitable arm. We have raised some funds during the COVID pandemic, and we have already set up an oxygen plant in Manali in partnership with Rotary International. So here is the guest speaker, Mr. Nimandeep Singh. So he is from Bangalore, India, and the co-chair of PCC Bangalore chapter. He is a management professional with more than 21 years of experience in field of construction, education, and media industry. He is also a regular speaker, coach in engineering colleges and schools organized by various association bodies for industrial exposure and knowledge sharing sessions. He is more of a people person, believer of leadership, and promoter of entrepreneurship. So we welcome you, sir. And now I will request you to kindly take the session ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aarti. I first of all thank PCC for giving me this opportunity to even come before you all to speak on a topic which is very close to my heart, intuitive communication and self-communication. Before that, I want to, from the heart, I want to thank Gary ji and Rajshri ma'am, along with Manisha, Akash, and Robandeep and Khushbu Srivastava for also giving me an opportunity to present my thoughts to you all. Now, I want to start by asking some of the very interesting questions which we all, at some period of our growing age, has come across. And I hope that this audience is a mix of youth from the age of 16, 18 to 35, 40. So this is a very interesting age period where we are trying to come out of the so-called mindset of being the child to the adulthood, at the same time coming out of the home which we call sometime as a cage to a world which is an open society. So let me begin with this. Why do we, and this could be some of the questions which is thrown to you, and you can also probably ask the questions by texting. Why do we need to communicate is the most important thing. This is very common question which is being asked or heard by many of us, then that we need to communicate so that someone can understand, listen to us, convey the messages. But do you really use the ways of communication, or do you understand communication only from the voice point of view? So I'm going to not focus on the 5 senses which we all have to communicate. That's your eyes. Many of us do a lot of communication through the eyes. We try to send the messages through the eyes, through the touch feeling, right? Through the ear feeling. Then, but I'm going to focus more on what is other than these 5 senses, right? And that sense is nothing but intuition. That's your 6th sense, right? So what is it that we want the world to hear or listen at the age which we are into, that is the age bracket of the youth? That's very much important, because what we want to hear or listen is as important as what the world wants to hear or listen. So which is the side which we normally take while speaking or communicating? But I'm not focusing on that space, because there are many speakers who will really take that space. I'm like, what is it that we want ourselves to hear or listen is what I'm focusing on now. What happens when you are only hearing to yourself, not listening to the external voices? You're only hearing to yourself. You're just hearing, but you're not even listening to the external voices. And I hope that you people are very well aware of there's a slight thin line difference between hearing and the listening, right? So hearing is what, at this moment, there's a prayer which is going on across my house. There could be some rain which is happening near Bangalore, and there could be so many sounds which we are hearing. But listening is what, at this moment, if the participants are very, very keen to listen to me, so they will be very giving me attentive hearing and attentive listening. And that's what we call a complete attention which we are looking from the listeners. But most of the audience do not do that. They always hear things and finally they say, did you say something to us? So I'm focusing on what happens when you were only hearing to yourself, not listening to the external voices? So I am the external voice, and today you are going to be the inner voices. And I'm going to create an environment or create a thought process where you will start listening to yourself. You'll start listening to your inner voices. And for that, you need to be very honest to yourself by not being in a distractive mode. You need to believe that, yes, you can listen to yourself. Yes, the universe which is within you is allowing you an opportunity to listen to yourself so that you can create a better world for yourself, at the same for everybody around you. Now, what happens the moment you start listening to the voices? What happens? Now you're listening to me. These are external voices. What's happening? Which means the external voices. Does it mean self-communicating? Now, you're listening to me as an external voice. Are you now in the same time trying to communicate with yourself? Is Mr. Singh trying to say something to us? Is this not a self-communication? Is he trying to tell me that something which I'm aware of it? Or is he trying to still find a way out what could be his topic? Or what does he want? So this kind of even a slight thought process, if it is coming in your mind, and you're able to think within yourself, this is self-communicating space. You are communicating without your knowledge. You are. I'm trying to focus. I will be focusing on that space. From there it starts. Now, the inner voice starts. Now, what I was just trying to tell you are your inner voices. Okay, so what is happening? Inner voice will start by either by replying. So many of you may be saying, no, this is not what you are thinking. Now, since most of you all may not have the option to express your views from a voice form, so you may not be able to reply, but then you will say, no, this is not what we wanted to say. This is not what we are thinking. But there may be some inner voices which will say, I want to respond. I think I connect with him. There may be some people who would have by this time already started talking to themselves. Right? Because this is not a meditation program which I'm trying to do. This is really a language in the today's world which is needed by the decision maker to bring out a thought process or the decisions which will change the world, which will change and create global enterprises, which will change and give us solutions to the existing problems. Now, the message it wants to convey to the outer world, which means I'm trying to say your inner voices, what is it that it would like the outer world from your inner voice if it is coming to me? Okay. Should I say reply or answering the external world? What is it that you would like the external world to hear, to listen? Now, to do all this, some basic questions which still needs to be answered, or if I hope you guys are mature enough, which you are, I think so, to also listen to what I'm trying to present is, how many of us know ourselves? Right? How many of us? I hope we have now participants who will say, yes, I know myself. Now, do I know myself from when I stand in front of a mirror? Do I know myself from what my parents tell me who I am, or my friends, or my relatives, or my well-wishers, or what the world says about me? Is this how many of us know ourselves? I don't think so. That's the self space. This, what the world tells you, is your external space. I am focusing on from so many years, and I've been pretty successful in being in understanding that how do you know yourself? It's not what the world will tell who you are or what you are, because the moment I know myself, my weaknesses are known to me. Many of us do not know self so they don't know where their weakness lies. And that's what they teach you in the management schools as a SWOT thing, your strength, weaknesses, and your other points. I say that knowing self is the most easiest thing for anybody if you can just listen to your inner voices. Now, how many of us communicate to the self is also a question. How many of us? Do we talk to ourselves? You all can think. Do you talk to yourself? Because the day starts, you are being talking to everyone. You're as like Aarti was talking to me, to the audience. There are so many people who start talking the moment they get up, the parents, their friends, their WhatsApp messages, they're talking. But do you communicate to yourself? If so, how many of us talk to the self while communicating with others? I really don't know. I don't know, because this is an individual perspective. So, but my experience for the last 22 years being my profession, I have seen people who do not know self or communicate to the self will never be able to communicate to the others in a manner where the opposite party, the client, or the friends, at one single statement will get convinced. I have never found many people like that. The reason being, when we talk to self, when we are trying to talk to you, that means, let's say now at this moment, I am talking to you, but at the same time, I'm talking to myself, inner self, and trying to get an assurance. Is my English okay? Is my presentation okay? Am I nervous? Is my nervousness visible? So that's the kind of assurance we all try to see when we talk to others. That is self-communication. But that self-communication is also attached to an assurance by ourselves, not even the outsider. You must have heard that somebody will say, no, we are very confident the way you are speaking. We are very confident you will close this deal. We are very confident you will get this marks. That's nothing but assurance. But did you speak to yourself? Did you speak to yourself with this kind of assurance? If so, you already are a part and parcel with the self-communication space. Now, my topic, intuitive communication and self-communication, they both are very close to each other, but they both are not same. Now, does our own intuition blocks our talk to self is what I want to answer. Does our own intuition, now after this I'm going to present what is intuition, what are all those things. Does our own intuition blocks our talk to the self? That means I want to talk to myself now. I'm now convinced that I have to talk to myself. But does my own intuition, which convincingly most of the time gives me a perfect predictable model of, yes, this is going to happen. You talk to someone like this person is good to you or bad to you. But sometimes does it really blocks your self-communication? I'm not going to present my screen to you around this. If my screen is not going to be visible to you, please do let me know.
It's visible.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to begin with this. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift which we all have. This is what you all should know, that we all have intuition and intuitive minds. Okay, there is nothing that Nimandeep is having something which you are not having. We all have. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. Rational is something, there are many people who will not even believe what you're saying, because you never knew that whether the answer is right or wrong, whether the traffic jam is there or not, whether you will get the deal or not, but you somehow felt that your gut feeling, which we call it, right? You felt that no, this is the way. But the rational mind will say, no, that's not the way. So then we have created a society that honors the servant, which is rational mind, and has forgotten the gift, that is the intuitive mind. This is being said by Albert Einstein. And I want to tell you this, my experience around the intuitive mind and intuitive communication, and then it got developed into a self-communication, is so powerful that I'm able to predict, I'm able to see many things before if it is coming to me. But I have to build something around that. And this is not an affirmation. This is as a youth, the moment I started my job, the moment I came out of my engineering, I started that. So I'm going to tell you different forms of communication in a nutshell, but I hope that you guys are first also aware of what is intuition. Now, this is not a philosophy class or the psychology class, okay? But this is a completely talk where these thought process will help you to become a great entrepreneur, great human being, great family person. People will appreciate as, yes, this is the person who knows us. So what is intuition? Yes, there are a lot of text messages which is we have written it in my presentation, but I'll just tell you, intuition means having a hunch or a gut feeling about something. Intuition is very, very important in life. It is your sixth sense, as I've already told. Your five senses, which I've said, was sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. Now, intuition is a type of thinking. I don't know how many of you will agree with that. But to many, intuition is like a superpower kind of a thing which is given by the God. It is, if you go to some astrologer or a healer, he will say, oh my, that guy's has got an intuitive power. He can heal you. He can do something. So they project you this intuition itself as a great thinking ability, which very few are blessed with, right? When I end my presentation, you will also, I'll show you with the fact sheets from a scientific perspective that intuition is with everybody. Intuition can be helpful in many ways. For example, if you're trying to make a decision, your intuition may give you some clues about what is best to do. Intuition also helps you understand other people better. Now, what is the psychology behind the intuition? Okay, the psychology behind intuition is that it is a way for our brains to quickly process information. So intuition happens when the brain links together several pieces of information that it has gathered. What it means is that now I am 44, I have already gathered millions of information in different forms of my past experiences, that in the way of either smell, your taste, your hair, your colors, anything. So there are so much of data which is there within our brain, which has been gathered. What the intuition does is what your machine learning is actually trying to do. Same way, what it does is it correlates the data, what you have already acquired, okay, and it presents this information to you at that moment if you see the similar thing in front of you. Okay. So when the brain does it, it can sometimes come up with the idea of the solution that you would have not thought of if you had just used a logical mind. If it was a logical mind, you would have never got that. Now, intuition also helps you to understand other people better. You often know what someone else is feeling, even though they may not have said anything about how they are feeling. This happens because the brain links together several pieces of information that it has gathered about the person, including their body language, facial expression, and tones. Intuition is often right based on past experiences and the knowledge, as I've already shared. Intuition can also be affected by emotions. For example, if you're feeling angry or sad, your intuition may not work as well as it would if you're feeling happy and calm. This is because emotions can cloud your judgment and make you act differently than you normally would. I'm going to share how do you develop the intuition. That's one part of it. But let me now show you this part. So to effectively connect with those around you as a youth, you have lot of aspirations. As a youth, you are the nation builders. As a youth, you are the next owners of unicorns. You are the next owners of social enterprise projects. You could be the next scientists, innovators, in name the thing. You could be the leaders in a leadership roles for so many places. Now, to effectively connect with those around you, it's helpful to know the different communication styles, which you all will agree by this time. While no one style is inherently better than the others, picking the right style for the right audience is imperative. Now, this you will come across in case if you're in a college to your post-graduation space when you're going for a job or your first deals, initial period of 1 to 2 years, that you need to know the right audience and be prepared with the kind of communication style you need to have to be successful or to achieve the purpose which you went for. Now, many of us in the schools and colleges are only taught just one thing. You should talk or you should speak in English, speak in this particular language, speak in local language so that they can become your friends. They only talk that much. You be in your family space, they will say, oh, this girl doesn't talk, this boy doesn't talk, he talks very less. And somebody will give so much of other information which may not be relevant for that particular. So we all have gone through these stages where we were confused or we were never told what are the forms of communication styles which are available. And I wish that this kind of information is there in the school to colleges for everyone to understand that all may not have these same functionals, all may not be knowing these kind of styles. But in case by today's presentation, if you're able to be, learning a bit of it, it's going to help you a lot in your personal and professional life. So analytical communication, intuitive communication, functional communication, personal communication. There's no better time to build a rapport, okay? So I'm just going to tell you about intuitive communication space. These guys, they prefer more casual, big picture approach to convey their points and appreciate when others do the same. Because they are intuitive, they are able to see a larger picture because it is not on a drawing board. It is in their thoughts. It's in their mind, right? The thought mind process. They see something which by sitting here, they can see the universe. They are able to sketch everything. So that's the reason their pictures is what we are here. It is mentioned as a big picture approach. Details aren't important to them and they prefer out of box thinking. Now, when I say the details are not important, doesn't mean that they don't work on a detail. They don't create a universe with only water around or only a grass is around, nothing like that. The details are important to them, but they prefer that whoever gives an idea to them, whoever gives us, a particular situation to them, they prefer to think out of the box. Because their inner communication, their intuitive thoughts are so strong that they have that gut feeling that, yes, we will be able to find a solution. And I have experienced this in my last 22 years so much that I'm fully convinced that I am partly functional and partly intuitive communication. So intuitive communicators don't need to hear things in linear order to understand concepts and prefer a broad overview instead. it just means that it's like not a conventional way that you keep narrating a big storyline. They're more interested, talk to the point, but then do you want a solution? And if so, are you ready for the solution? Right? Now, intuitive communicators often contribute big ideas. Their creative and unconventional point of view allows them to come up with big, bold ideas. This makes them great for brainstorming sessions or creative meetings. They prefer to use visuals. Many intuitive communicators present visual examples when communicating, such as charts, diagrams, and examples. Need to avoid distractions. They don't like to be distracted very easily. So when interacting, they like to give a broad overview that excludes the minute details which they find distracting. This can mean they may have, I'm not saying that, they may have less patience for more detail-oriented conversation. How to work with them? Since I'm focusing on this space, I can tell you that you will find all these four kind of styles across the life journey which you're going to keep living now. How to work with them is very important. When working with an intuitive communicator, it's important to take a step back from the details of a subject and get to the heart of an idea before connecting. Because they are more interested to give you a solutions from a larger picture. Since it is a larger picture, they know that it is not easy to create a master plan of it at the go itself. It needs a lot of detailing, discussions. So they are not going to be interested when you start saying, no, tell us the facts. How will you execute? How are things going to happen in real life? It's not going to be easy for them to describe. What definitely they do is they prefer to cut to the chase and may not appreciate step-by-step instruction. They tend to prefer in-person communication so they can grasp a concept faster. This I can relate to a few days back. One of our member from PCC, he was discussing a very large business opportunity, which is morely with social impact in the Punjab market. And as he spoke for a few hours and then gave me a day's time, I called him in 2 days from then. I said, if you're willing, then we can meet. He says, yeah, let's meet whenever you are in Punjab. I said, no, I'm there in next few hours. And I just took the evening flight and met him in the late night. Now, did I do for a business? No, because I prefer that the in-person communication, I can get the concept clarity more easier. Yes, it costs some money, but yes, it takes your time. But then it may happen that you may be able to contribute to that idea, which is more creative, more impactful, and more feasible. For example, rather than including all the details of a concept, you should try explaining why the concept is important and how it is connected in the grand scheme of things. Now, as I've shared with you earlier, there are 4 types of communicators. So I'll just run through these 4 fast. This analytical communicator, because these are the people, these 4 communicators, you can for yourself judge you fit in where. So analytical communicators, they are more with logical thinking, they are dependable, they are number driven. So they want data. Without data, if you talk to them, they are nothing because their brain won't work. They want to have a data to talk to you. So how to communicate with one? In case if you're getting a chance, always include hard data, real numbers, and specific language. Keep feelings and emotions out of your argument if possible. They are not going to be, completely bending upon your emotions or feelings at all. They're more interested in, do you have a numbers? And these are the people you can say from the investor's point of view, right? Because investors, if they invest in your company or in your idea with emotions or feelings, they're going to lose their money. And most of the money is not theirs. Most of the money is also from different investors, what they collect. So the hard data, real number, and specific language is very, very important. So you can think that whether you're analytical communicator or not. Intuitive communicator, visuals, They believe in visuals. They believe that anything which we see is more real. They are more creative, and they are macro level thinkers, a bigger picture, right? So being part of this PCC, which is a global forum, being part of this youth poll, which is again a global forum for you people, today by sitting wherever in the world you are able to visualize the whole world as one. Earlier, it was only in one of the globe form or one sketch. Today, because of the PCC, it has come together. And if you are able to do a macro planning around that I can today talk to anybody in the world, I can share my ideas, I can give service to anybody, right? So you are also like a macro level thinker. How to communicate with one? Take a step back from the details of a subject. Now, if somebody asks you, how will you talk to someone and what will you contribute to the Western world or the Asia side, Eurasia side, you don't even know you're in India, or somebody from, the Western world will say, okay, I don't understand what the Sri Lankan's economy is going to do, but I want to invest it. What will you do, right? So don't go into that detail in the beginning. It's important that you step back and get to the heart of an idea. How much is the person interested to communicate? That means how much he wants to really communicate the thought or the message he wants to convey. Okay. The functional communicator, many of them in the PCC will be that. They are inquisitive, they are thorough, they are process driven. And I am pretty sure that the team of PCC is, majority of them will be functional communicator, because they work day and night. They have a process, okay, and they're thorough with what they're doing. I really appreciate that one. So how to communicate with them? Allow them to formulate questions by giving them a written timeline or list of expectations before discussing a project. And this is what we all are seeing, that the PCC team is so great in it. The personal communicator, they are very candid, they can be diplomatic, and they're emotional events. How do you communicate with them? Establish a connection before diving into the details of a project. Avoid hard numbers and use emotional language. These personal communicators are an asset for any group. Any group. They are the people who are actually connecting, bridging. They are the one who actually bring the laughter in the whole session. They are the one who actually bring happiness. And sometimes their ego comes into picture, but then most of the time they're great. Now, I will just ask you if you can judge on yourself what you are. Okay, so I have a very interesting. Hello, I am Spriha Mandal from Mumbai. My age is 20 years. I am visually challenged and very intuitive for others with accuracy, but could not help myself. Please suggest and guide. How can I improve and help myself? Okay, so I can only at this moment say that if you could be more precise with your question or clear with that what is the kind of, when you say I could not help myself, what is the help you were seeking from the world? Okay. Or what was the help you were seeking from yourself? Right? And how I can improve and help? If I know this, that what was that you were seeking, I think I can definitely help you to get the solutions for that. I hope this answer is sufficient, or if you want something more detailed, probably later on Akash or anyone else can share my contact and we can share more about it. Okay, so do you often use numbers to support your ideas? Now, all of the participants who are here, kindly just go through this. This is just 2 slides where think about what you'd like. Do you often use numbers to support your ideas? If yes, do you often get frustrated when the conversations go off topic? If yes, do you find Okay, so do you often get frustrated when conversation go off topic? If yes, do you love to run test analysis out of curiosity? That means you're analytical person. Okay. Now, if you often get frustrated when conversation go off topic and you are not getting frustrated here, right? So what will happen? Do you find you are more intrigued with the details or end results of a project? If yes, you're functional. If not, do you prioritize people's feeling when making a decision? I'm sure many of us do that. If yes, you're having a personal communication space. You're a personal communicator. Do you find your ideas are out of the box? Yes. Then you are. Do you prioritize feelings when making a decision? If yes, then again you are personal. But if no, you're an intuitive communicator. So, as I've already told you, what is intuition? What is psychology behind? Let me now share with you how do you develop that intuition. Intuition is something that everyone is born with. Still, there are many ways you can develop this feeling. Do a lot of exercise. Okay, do a lot of exercise. You can develop your intuition by doing different exercises, which we can in a later space share with you. You could do an exercise where you ask yourself a question and then wait for the answer to pop in your head. This is a very, very good way to begin with. I'll repeat. You can ask yourself a question and then wait for the answer to pop in your head. This will help you to build up your ability to trust your own intuitions when it comes to answers that may not make sense logically, but feel right emotionally or spiritually. And honestly, many of us, when we go through this, the world around us will laugh on us. I'm telling it to you with experience. The world around us will laugh. So let them laugh, doesn't matter. But it's better you ask a question and then wait for the answer to pop. You will get the answer. You will get the answers. You need to have slight patience, but you will get the answer. Now, instead of trying to come up with the ideas and solution on your own, you can always ask questions like, what would happen if I did this? How might other people respond? You often get good answers by asking such questions because they allow you time to think about things without feeling pressured. These types of questions are very helpful when you are trying to make a decision. Practice meditation. During meditation, you allow your minds to quiet down, and this allows you to connect with your intuition more easily. Now, many of us will come through, in that wherever we go to meditation classes or any spiritual place, they will say, close your eyes, you can talk to yourself, you can feel yourself, the auras, the chakras, so many things they'll say. Now, if we do not have a peace inside us, then how are you going to get that? And that is what they will say, no, that is what you are here for. That's why you need to forget the world, think of it. It's not that easy, and especially in our age. The young minds are full of energy. Okay, they are like the water behind the dam. If it is not utilized properly, it will either stale or it will burst the dam itself. So someone has to channelize those energies, and I'm fortunate that today you may find that way out. When you meditate, you focus on your breath and allow all other thoughts to pass by without paying attention to them. Be creative. Creativity helps you to develop your intuition. I'm so happy that in PCC we have so many creative people, such a young minds are there. Even though most of the minds are not only just 35, 45, they are 30, 45 to 55 also, but they are so creative. They are really doing so much out of the way to make this organization a global platform where the voices can be heard and the voices will be made to heard. Being creative means that you allow yourself time and space in your mind when you are not focused on everyday tasks like making decisions. So you can take some time to think about what questions make sense for each situations before trying to come up with the idea. Now, many of us, when we do our meetings, we always see that the opposite party, it could be either the client or the salesperson, okay, they are so desperate or eager to just reply. They don't have enough patience to, first of all, listen to the questions. They don't have patience to listen to the presentations which are happening. They have already judged you. You know, like our initial pitch of 8 minutes being done to the startups, right? They've already judged you. Your PPT is what is going to bring in your $1 billion of investment in 8 minutes. Now, what if the promoter doesn't even have these 4 skills? And if he's not able to talk to the investors in the language what they wanted to hear? I think the PCC is a great platform where we should be creating a platform where these prospective startups or these ideas are made to understand that there's getting investments from someone is not as easy. It's not just PPT. You need to know the opposite person also. At the same time, you need to immediately, with your intuition, gauge whether the person is a functional communicator, analytical communication, or a personal communication or communicator, right? Feel the nature. Spending time in nature will definitely help you to develop your intuition space. Now, intuition is the one which will ensure that you will close the deals even though a day before the client will say no. I have come across. Intuition is the thing which, because when you leave from that meeting, the vibes, what you leave there, the positivity in your mind, not on the table, even though the deal is almost collapsed, but in the mind, the thoughts, what you have created, you will feel that the nature, the universe will definitely help you. Pay attention to your dreams. And this is what I want to highlight on. Your dreams may also be trying to tell you something about your intuitions. Do not ignore the night dreams or the early morning dreams or the afternoon dreams. Don't ignore that. Many times your dreams give you clues about what is going in your life that you may not be aware of while you are awake. We mostly think, oh, it's just a dream. Oh, you didn't sleep, or you watched this movie. You must have spoken to somebody else with this idea. That's the reason such things came. No. It is important to pay attention to the symbols and images that appear in your dream because they often have a hidden message for us. I have come across like this many. If you are not sure what a certain symbols means, there are a lot of ways you can find out. The benefits of intuitions. And why this I'm talking more on intuition, because intuitive communicators need to know the positive side of the intuitions, the way they use the intuitions to communicate. At the same time, the negative side of it also. So I'm going to first share the benefits of it. It helps us to stay on track. Intuition can help us to stay focused, motivated, and also helpful when we are working towards a goal, like making PCC a successful platform is the goal which I'm working on. Making the youth to get all what they want to be a successful entrepreneur is what I'm working for. That's my goal. So it improves the decision making. Intuition can also help with the decision making. When you rely on your intuition, it helps you to bypass the rational mind and cut straight to what feels right for you. That's very important in today's stressful time. We don't know. We don't know whether the opposite person is always going to be there with us or not. COVID has shown that. A lot of accidents were happening every day. Crores of people were dying, but we never saw that. It was happening. COVID made us to feel that no, anything can happen so soon without our mind being prepared to accept that. So when you rely on your intuition, it helps you to bypass the rational mind and cut straight to what you feel is right for you. This can be helpful in situations where time is of essence and when there is a lot at stakes. This is especially from the startup world point of view. There's a lot at stake and time is the essence. Even in today's presentation, when we have an hour given to us, intuitive things creates a connection with universe. I have come across a lot. When you develop your intuitions, you create a connection with universe. This connection allows for messages and insight to come through you that can guide you on your path. Yes, you may not know when I was 18 or 21, what's my path? When I was 25, after my degree line, what was my path? But it kept guiding me to an environment or a zone where I felt, yes, I can see this is what the world wants me to do. This is what the universe wants me to do, right? Intuition is often seen as a doorway to the higher consciousness and can help you to connect with the spiritual side. That is the ultimate. That's the last thing which we all have here for, which many agree, many may not. But then reality is that we all are here in a very short visit of 100 years. And this 100 years, your professional world and spiritual world needs to be balanced along with your personal world. Now, intuition thing also helps you, improves your mental health. By calming the minds, reducing the stress, it gives a sense of peace, and during the turmoil or the chaos, it um, it also is that it alerts of danger or illness. This very people who are intuitive or who have been having relatives or cousins or friend circles who actually will say, don't do this, I think it may not be right for you. They will say, hey, how do you know that? We ignore that. So intuition is often associated with danger or illness because it provides signs when something isn't right in your life. This is very common in my sphere. Your body will give off physical cues like sweatness, nausea, elevated heart rate that are linked back to your intuition, helping you to avoid dangerous situations before they come. But there are people who will not. They will say, no, I don't believe in it. And they suffer. I'm not saying that it is always true, but then most of the time we have come across that intuition alerts are much useful to us. You might feel fatigue more than normal and experience pain that doesn't seem to have a clear cause, right? Because in your own sphere, you may be thinking about your aunt, your brothers, your well-wishers, the people who have hurted you also. Some of the clients or some of the professors, some of the deal makers, they would have hurted your sentiments, but then still you will be thinking about them because that's how you're feeling good for them, their intuitions. But the negative effects of the intuition is something which is also important for you to know. It leads to a doubt and second guessing. And this is what I was trying to say. Does our own intuition blocks our talk to the self? Does it really block the way I was freely thinking without thinking about intuitions? It can lead to doubt and second guessing yourself. This is because when you go against your intuition, you may feel like you have failed or made a wrong decision. This is true. In the initial days of mine, when it was happening in my life, in the initial days, I used to have the same thing, but then I really overcome that space and I thought, no, I am not taking any hasty decisions. I am taking very calculative decisions, and my intuition is helping me like a GPS telling me where the problems are going to be or the traffic jams are going to be. So this can be especially harmful when it comes to making big decisions in life. And most of the decisions which we always take with the intuitions, okay, is of the heart. Most of us have found our life partners, our some of the things which we buy because of intuitions, not completely, even if you have gone through complete detailing of the product line, it could be a car, the client, anything. Still, the final decision, whether you take A or B, I think we say it's taken through heart, and not the heart doesn't actually think, right? It's the brain which thinks. So major decisions, when it is taken in life, I suggest that you all youngsters need to consult with everybody like a board. Take the positive sides, negative sides, correlate the things, and then take the decisions. And whatever the decisions you're taking, think that your intuitions wanted that only. It causes confusion. Intuition can also cause confusion by providing a lot of information at once. That happens to me a lot. When it happens, it can be difficult to know what is important and what isn't. Because at one go, you've got so much of information and you're able to calculate so many thoughts. And it sometimes creates a confusion. But then as you keep growing, this confusion goes off. It creates an internal conflict. because it goes against what you know based on your past experiences, um, then this can be challenging when you feel like your intuition is telling you to go in one direction, but your mind keeps you telling another. And this is what happens in one of a recent meeting, that one of my prospective client kept telling me, Mr. Singh, you're not accepting our relationship, our deals, and you're still, with your preconceived notions and all that. But because my experiences, my past experiences, were similar to what I was going to go through in the near future with the same deal, I felt it's better I don't go ahead. I don't know whether I lost more or gained more, but then at that moment, that was the right decision for me. Now, let me tell you this part, okay? Which part of the brain controls intuitions? Okay. Generally speaking, the area that paves the way for intuition is our right hemisphere. Not only does it govern creative thoughts, arts, music, senses, and emotion, it is also the area where intuitive thoughts are created. Now, prior to this discussion, this slide, I was telling, and you must have heard, oh, intuition is very natural, supernatural, psychic healings, all this, the moment the intuition and intuitive thing comes, but it is not. I'm going to share some slides in next 4-5 slides, which will also bring me to the end of the session, that there is a science behind it, right? And so the cerebral cortex, also known as the cerebellum, also affects the development of human hunches in human. Now, before I share that 2 slides, let me tell you this. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. I'll repeat. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. It's a great quote by Steve Jobs. And this is self-explanatory. Let the world not tell what is right or wrong. Let your inner voice also be heard by yourself. And I'll just share just 2 slides, and then it'll help me to. What is the science behind things, okay? So there's a neurobiology of intuition. I hope I'm able, is my screen visible?
No, sir, it's not visible.
1 second. Sorry. Just a second. Yeah. Sorry, I could not add this in my
It's visible
slide.
now.
But sorry, I could not add this in my slide, but I want to really show you something, the science behind this intuition. Because intuitive communicators need to know that if someone tells you, oh, you are a blessed guy, or you're a fool, you're taking a decision from your heart, all that, don't listen to all that crap. There is a science behind, and let me show you that. So the neurobiology of intuition and the science that studies, it says that it is more important than ever now in a world that's more often chaotic and complex. Knowing how to hear that inner voice can help you make a better decisions. I think this is what I wanted to, this is the whole crux of the whole presentation, that knowing how to hear that inner voice can help you to make better decisions in your life. That is something which I wanted to present, which I have been, I think, slightly successful in able to do it. But okay, so the neurobiological biology of intuition exists. most people base a lot of decisions they make on their gut feelings. It's basically just an inner voice in touch with identity and everything you have seen, felt, and experienced. Let's admit it, intuition can often guide you to invisible universes. Let's accept that, it's true. It can connect you to a part of yourself that inhabits the most hidden corners of your subconscious. Right? Subconscious, which like now I am conscious, but there is something which is within me, which is subconscious, right? It can feel so strange at times that you might think it isn't a very scientific experience. It's very common for people who are intuitive or intuitive communicators to always experience that it is not very scientific. It must be a mystical, which I was trying to tell you, because there is no obvious logic to it, which the world will tell you that there is no logic behind it, but that isn't exactly true. Intuition is really our sixth sense, and there's a lot of scientific literature about it. For example, there are fascinating books such as Educating Intuition by Robin M. Hogarth, The Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking by Malcolm. Okay. So in this book, they have some data which they have shared. I hope you guys can read or take it online. So they say that it can actually complement. They argue that for the importance of intuitions as a resource, they say that it can actually complement analytical thoughts. Now, when I say analytical thought, means something which is with more data. Okay, something which we all know intuition is without a data, but no, we have a data. We have all the data in our thoughts. Then there are researchers such as Jonas Salk, who became well known in his time for inventing a polio vaccine. This doctor wrote a thought-provoking article in 1983 called "The Merging of Intuition and Reason." What a beautiful statement! In it, he talked about how we should be using our sixth sense in our daily lives because it can help us make better decisions. So what does the neurobiology of biology of intuition have to say? First of all, Dr. K.H.K. Tankar says that the neurobiology of intuition suggests that these mental processes aren't all in our imagination. It is not just only in imagination. He's from a Riken Brain Institute, led a fascinating study to try and find some answers to what happens in our brain to create this sixth sense. To figure that out, he used some experimental study subjects, expert shogi players. The game is very similar to chess, and the most skilled players use their intuition to make some amazing moves. Dr. Tanaka also performed a series of MRIs on this group of people to see what part of their brain, to see which parts of their brain they were using the most. And he came out with this. This I'm only trying to show it to you so that it's not just mistake. There is also a science. So intuitive communicators are blessed to think of out of the box and something which is much larger. As a concept. According to his scans, the area of their brain that lit up most was the precuneus. This is a little part of the superior parietal lobe, which also happens to be the right on the line between the right and left brain hemisphere. The precuneus plays a role in episodic memory and visual spatial processing. But most interesting of all, it plays a role in consciousness. You know, this is very important. It plays in consciousness. Many of the people think, no, these guys they don't have a conscious thinking at all. It is. And I know I have 1 minute left. The another one they found is the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. The another area which lit up when they were using the intuitive parts of their brain was ventromedial prefrontal cortex. This is a key part of our brains. Why? It's where we store all of the information on past rewards, along with the pain of mistakes and things we wish we hadn't done so that we would have avoided experiencing something negative. And this is what all of us have gone through. I hope so. That it is where we store all of the information on our past rewards, the recognition, the pain of the mistakes, the things which we didn't want it to be there, which we were avoiding, something negative. So famous neuroscientist Antonio Demercia figured out how important this part of our brain is in the decision-making process. The most interesting thing about this brain structure is that it responds based on emotions. Please listen to this again. It responds based on emotions. That's the reason it is very, very important when you're in a youth. And since I'm working on my company called Smart Living and Smart Aging, so in the aging space, as you're getting older, you are more stressed. Your emotions, are playing a very important, crucial roles in your decision making. And in the youth, the age bracket where this youth forum participants are, most of the decisions which goes wrong are taken emotionally. It could be many of the personal and the professional decisions. So imagine if you meet someone at party who then invites you to go back to their place. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex will do a fast analysis based on your past experiences. There could be something about their personalities, appearance, or speech that makes you skeptical of them. This is exactly which happened to me recently in one of a meeting. This is because they remind you of someone you had a negative experience with. From there, it will send out an alarm to get your attention. That's your intuition trying to make its way into your conscious mind. Once you have heard that inner voice, you have two options. You can either listen to it or send it through a filter of analytical thoughts. If you want to examine it more carefully. The last one, the scientific studies in the neurobiological of intuition have also emphasized the caudate nucleus. It's a structure that's part of the basal ganglia, which plays a role in learning habits and automative behaviors. Basically, the caudate nucleus speeds up the sixth sense to help you make a quicker, almost automatic decisions based on your previous experiences or learning. So as you see from all this information, it is hard to chop all these processes up to accidents or a product of imagination. And that is the reason in the end I'm trying to tell this, that many of us in the society, they always think that if they are talking with intuitions, you're taking decision with intuitions, it is by fluke, or you're not sure about it. You will blame nobody else, you will blame yourself for it, but it's not true. It's not just it happens by accidents or a product of information. There's so much which goes in your brain. Not only there is a neurological foundation to intuition, but it also involves your past experiences, your personality, and your subconscious, or the place that contains the essence of who you are. Gut feelings aren't just pseudoscience. They are actually a mechanism. Please listen to this. If someone tells you that you are youth, you're using your gut feeling, elderly have more senses, super elderly people have more senses. It's not, it's the gut. Sometimes most of the people don't have, they cannot have a right decision-making ability, but the young minds may have. So the gut feelings aren't just pseudoscience. They are actually a mechanism that has helped to define who we are as human of all gender, races, and culture. This is really worth thinking about. You should always listen to, and I want to say this and conclude, you should always listen to that inner voice and use your ability to think analytically about things when you need to. Thank you. And I hope I'm able to present my thoughts in a form which is intuitive come self. I have experienced it. I have lived it. I have enjoyed it. I have earned whatever I have today in terms of my professional and personal and spiritual space because of it. So I wanted to share with the young minds, because many of the times they are going to be questioned for what their beliefs are, what their ideas are, what their decision makings are. Uh, I will always say that don't just give up because someone said no to you. Don't just give up if someone rejected you. It could be your business ideas, personal life frames, your international dreams, your anything which you wanted to do. Just don't leave it like that. There is your inner voice. Always listen to your inner voice, because you are nothing but a soul, and you're a body on the soul. There's a body which is a skin, and all this is on a soul. So bones and nothing. So if I tell you today, stop breathing, you can breathe for just stop breathing for a minute, or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Somebody will say, no, I can do it for 4 minutes. Can you stop your heart now? Right? You cannot. Can you stop your heart? No, you cannot. you know can you see without your eyes? No, it's not. These are all practical things. God has given you that. So why disturb the biological strength which the God has given to us, right? But then why we have stopped listening to ourselves is something which needs to be always questioned. If you do not listen to yourself, if you do not listen to the inner voice of yourself, the world will start showing you, or start you to listen or hear what is not always good for you. I'm not saying every time that is good. It's not always good for you, right? So give time to yourself. I'm not saying go away from a TV or WhatsApp, Facebook, communication. No, nothing like that. I'm just saying give time to yourself. And the moment you're given time to yourself, before even entering any meetings or any important decision-making places, that is the time that self-communication and your intuitive thoughts will start playing very fast. And they are the one who are going to help you how to come out successful. Anything which you go for, could be a business meeting or meeting some partners of life, anything. Go with a mind that you're not going to lose. You're always there to come back with a lot of experience and a lot of exposure, right? So listen to always your inner voice. My external voice is going to stop now. And I hope that today, when your dreams are going to be showing you a real picture of what you always felt and thought are needed for you, tomorrow morning, you can always get up and sketch that. Trust my words, those dreams will always come true. It has come true for me also. I will pray that it comes true for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this great presentation and sharing your knowledge. We have some questions with us from Meher. Mr. Singh, you have apple of books in your background. Which is the one book you admire the most? So you are on mute.
I'll tell you. Okay. I admire the most is not what it's still there. I love Chanakya. Okay. I love the Chanakya book. But recently I took a book which was how a journalist, like a journal person like me, because I'm not a specialist. I'm not a brain surgeon, so I'm not a specialist. I'm a civil engineer. I'm into healthcare business and education space. But how a journalist kind of a person can create a space for himself in a specialized world. See, today, if you talk to someone, oh, he's a media person, he's a speaker, he's a pilot. There is a specialized space for that, right? Then what happens to people like us? Even though we are into business, we are general. We need to find a space for ourselves, right? Then how is it that we are still able to survive? So this is where this book I found last few days back in relay store in the airport, Bangalore airport. And this is an interesting story around Roger Federer, at the same time our golfer, who from the childhood, they were trying to become a specialist from the parents' perspective, but how eventually one became a journalist, and like Roger Federer. and one could become a specialist like this golfer, right? So I think that's the book which I really love. But I tell you one thing, that if you are given a chance, okay, read books to an extent what is to be conveyed to you from your perspective, not the the writer's perspective. Because the writer has written always what he felt is right for him, or what the audience he is perceiving to. Just imagine someone writing a book in Europe doesn't even know the culture of India point of view, right? We still are a snake charming country. But imagine someone from India writing for a Western world or a East Asian world. So what? So it's important that when you pick up the books or when you read things, you also read the books or the whatever is written in that, not from a writer's perspective, except it is like a story or something more with life skills and life thoughts. It should be always from your perspective. Can you take out what is right for you or what is good for you? And I am very happy that most of the participants who are there, they know what to pick. Their filtering process is pretty fast, and their magnetism approach is very, very good. So
Yes, yes, yes. The second question is from Robandeep Kaur Semi. Hello, sir. You have shared an algorithm to find the kind of communicator we are. Sometimes it's hard to go with the one communicator because we feel we have the quality of all the communicators. You have mentioned, could you simplify it more that we can know about ourselves more better?
oh, I'm honestly speaking, looking at the Robindeep's profile and the president position, what she's holding, I think, I'm too small as a person to actually tell her the best form, because she's a president and she needs to have all the 4 forms, right? Because she has to manage everybody. Since I have never got the position to be a president or a, in a chair position. So in PCC also, I'm a co-chair. That means that my 50% of my role will be taken by somebody else. But I'll explain this way, that when we meet someone, okay, it's not important first that the opposite person is of which style, the 4 styles of communicator. It is important to know which is your style. It's very important to know your style, because the moment you know who you are and your style of communication, it will be very easy for you to adapt to the others. Okay. I'm not trying to say that we need to become a chameleon, but then we need to adapt to others if we want to engage that person with us, if we want to engage at the person. But at the same time, you must have come across some of the people when we start talking, they will say, talk to the point. I don't like this. There are people. So because they want data, they don't want to hear your emotions, their crap stories. But does that mean that what you are having also is not right or wrong kind of a thing? No. You are having what is right for you. But do the world wants to hear what you have? Is one question. Do the world want to hear what you have? If yes, you're a billionaire, you're a trillionaire. Now, do you want the world to hear what you have? It's the second question. If you know what you want to convey or tell the world, then you will find out of 600 crore people, okay, maybe just 5 to 10% will be left for you, right? Now, what do? The moment you know that you want to tell the world something, so you have to shout. Like how as a child we used to shout, mama, as a small child we used to cry for a milk or a food or then anything which we want, we shout, right? Same way you have to shout. Now, how loud you shout is going to be in your hand. The louder, the better, but it should not be screaming. It should not be screaming. So if it is screaming, it's going to irritate people. But if it is shouting, then some people, the few percentage of the people who will connect with you, they will think, I think this person is in need. I think this person is trying to convey something, right? See, imagine a situation for yourself when you are left in an ocean or in a desert or in a hill or a forest, you're just shouting. Because your form of communication is not understood by anybody. No tree is able to understand. Think that the humans are trees. Think that all the world, except you, right? There are many, but then most of them are like fishes or the trees. Different kind of. They're not able to understand what you're saying. Then how come the animals understand when you speak to them? How come the same trees give you the shadows, the fruits, the pampering, the support, how come the same sea goes back when you want to pick up those pearls, right?
Right.
So you need to know to first that, do I know who I am? Do I know myself? Do I know my strength, or which type of communication strength I'm having it? Always remember what your strength will never take you far. It will only allow you to cross those hurdles. But if you could parallelly also know the other forms of communication, no, I'm not form, the styles, right? It will help you to always have someone in the journey of your professional or personal or spiritual space. And you will never be alone in that journey. And remember that in journey, it is only a very short journey. My flight to Delhi is 3 hours. My Punjab flight is 3 hours, right? It's a very short journey. My flight to US could be 20 hours. So it's a short journey. So if you think that you're going to, and most of us, what we do mistake is that we always think that whoever is going to be part of our journey is going to be there with us forever. So we don't want to talk to that person. We don't want to even give that person a space, because either he's an analytical type, he's a functional type, or he's a personal type. Maybe because I'm an intuitive type, so I don't want. It may happen that Robandeep may be more analytical, maybe all of 4. So she may not find very comfortable with other people. The best way out is, don't judge anybody. You want to enjoy the journey. You want to listen to the stories of someone for 3 hours movie. You want to share your experience with the world because no one was listening to you in your own world or the ecosystem where you were. Then it won't matter which style of communications you're having. It only matters is, are you ready to listen? At the same time, are you able to listen to yourself? Because when you talk or listen to yourself, you always talk to the souls. You talk to your other inner voices. And most of the inner voices are always waiting for people like Robandeep, because they want to know, how can Robandeep be so intelligent? How can she be so smart? How could she do it? Why is it that she's able to do it? Can she share that to us? We also want to be happy. We also want to be recognized. We also want the right position for ourselves. It could be in this PCC forum. It could be in her job. It could be anywhere. But if you're not sharing, then the inner voices of others are never heard. They want it to be heard. They want it to be that someone can listen to them. But if the people are also not able to open up and define that, no, I am only this. Like we say, I am Leo, I'm Aquarian, I'm Sagittarius, I'm Libra. So the moment we ask, what's your date of birth? Okay, so yours is Arti. Arti means Shukra Daksha. Okay, this, typically we will give this names, positions, bracket them, and then what happens? We don't allow anybody to talk to us. Who? Not we. Our inner voices are being suppressed by our notions that Aquarians are like this, Leos are like this, right?
Right. Yes. So thank you, sir. We are getting very positive responses. Such an eye-opener session it was. And Navjot Kaur is saying it was a great session. Thank you, sir. And Meher is saying insightful session. So thank you everyone for your time and putting these questions. And thank you, Niman sir, for sharing your knowledge and giving a great presentation. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Regards to all. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, I am ending the session for all. Thank you.